What's going on, everybody? Gentleman94 here. Welcome back to 4Wheel Fridays. We're here with the 41 Chevy, and today we are finishing this kit up, even though I'm a week late, but hey, who's keeping score, right? So we're going to jump in with the white walls. Now, this is actually the second time I've tried to paint white walls here on the tires. The first time didn't go over so well. Reason being, the paint had nothing to bite into. It's right on really slick rubber. Not going to work. So I had an idea. We're actually going to add a little bit of Future into my white paint. Not only is this going to give it a nice glossy finish because, well, Future is pretty glossy, it's also going to give the paint a bit more elasticity, and it's going to give it a nice stiff backbone. At least that's my hope, because yeah, flat paint onto glossy rubber does not work. It just comes right off the second you flex that rubber. So this should give it a bit more stability. At least that's my hope. We're going to drop in that airbrush, spray it about 20 psi because it is a tad thicker, and let's hope that this works out. All right, let's go ahead and pull off the outer mask and see how we worked here with that. I used my compass cutter, and I got to tell you, those are super handy. If you don't have one, get one because they really, really help. I like that line. It looks clean. Let's go ahead and pull the inner mask off as well. Should use my hobby knife just to pick up the edge of that, being very careful not to nick that white. There we are. Let's pull that right off the center. There we go. Yeah, that's not too bad. It looks decent. So we're going to go ahead and unmask the other tires, and well, let's hope it work out. All right, last one here, guys. We're pulling off the center masks. I got to tell you, I'm not exactly 100% happy with the results, but I'm like 90% happy. I think it turned out decently. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the cab and some of the chrome accents. Now, there is a chrome strip that runs from almost the front of the hood, along the edge, along the side of the door, around the back of the cab, up the other side, all the way to the hood itself. I want to go ahead and airbrush that using some Vallejo chrome. It's not going to be as shiny or as glossy as the actual kit plated chrome, but I think it's going to be fine. We're going to throw the masks on and get this thing ready to go. Give it a nice shot of that Vallejo. That turned out decently enough. Let's go ahead and back off some of the masks and check out how the finish is. Yeah, I like it. That'll work. That'll work well. But we have a few extra parts, though we do have to go ahead and hand paint as well. But overall, yeah, it looks pretty decent. Here on the side of the hood, we have some vents. Now, the actual kit itself doesn't show these painted, but my reference photo does. So we're going to go ahead and paint this with that same Vallejo chrome. I'm just going to drop it right on there. I don't know if it's 100% correct, but you know what? It's all about having fun, right? So we're going to throw it on, see how it looks. Here are some finished wheels. I threw those together off camera. Beautiful little chrome hubcap there. This is what the wheels look like before the chrome hubcap, and I'll show you how I installed it. It's pretty simple. The one thing I will say about these chrome pieces is they actually do look pretty snazzy. I like how shiny, how clean they are. Unfortunately, they don't match my paint, but I'm going to let that go because honestly, this is my first truck, so we're just going to have some fun with it. I'm going to take a little bit of the Tamiya extra thin. I'm going to drop it right on the edge of the center section on the wheel. That should be pretty decent. I'm going to take this beautiful little chrome hubcap I'm going to drop that right down in the center, just like that. Position it over, give it a little bit of pressure. Nice. All right, guys, we're also going to work on some of the chrome pieces here on the bumpers, and we have the door latches and the fuel filler cap as well. All that's chrome plated, so we got to be real careful. I'm not sure how the Tamiya glue will react with it, but I think it'll be fine. These bumpers here, these do not attach very easily. Some of the attachment points are super shallow, and they actually should be carved out a little bit more, but I don't want to take a risk of hurting the chrome, so we might drop some super glue on that just to give it some extra toughness. All right, let's go ahead and install some of the chrome accents here. This is one issue I have with the kit, is none of the locating pins, at least the holes that these actually go into, none of them are deep enough. So I've had to actually open up every single hole I've used to go ahead and stick some of these chrome pieces, or any piece for that matter. But that's okay, it's fine. It looks decent enough, just a couple swipes with the hobby knife, not a problem. Let's also install the side mirror. Unlike modern day cars and trucks, this only has one mirror here on the side. And we also have one of the side latches here on the hood. There we are. Just going to grab this with my tweezers. It's a bit of an awkward piece, to be honest, but I think we'll be able to get it right in there. There we are. And I think these are actually positioned so it opens to the back. So we're going to have to go ahead and twist those over using my tweezers. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the side stakes here on the bed. And we're not going to be using our Tamiya glue. Instead, we're going to go with some super glue because I want this to set really, really quickly so I can move on with things. So we're just going to put that right in there. Let's talk about fit, guys. One of the issues I've had with this kit, and it might be just of my own doing, or maybe it's something inherent with the model itself, I don't know. But the hood and the cab do not fit very well onto the chassis. They just don't. Either the hood is too far forward and there's a giant gap between where it would meet with the actual cab, or it's too far back and there's a huge step in the very nose of the hood. Either way, it's no good. So what I've had to do, and I've talked about this briefly I think last episode, but what I've done is I've actually carved out, I've hollowed out certain parts and pieces to make sure to move that cab forward, and that is basically fitting where I need it to fit. The bed itself goes on no problem, so at least we got that going for it. All right, now it is time for Future. I'm going to go ahead and cover the entire thing in a nice coat of Future. This should really give it a nice gloss and a protective coating for when I handle it. Now, I'm not going to do a lot of weathering with this kit. I want it pretty clean, pretty cherry. But I will do this here on the front grille. I'm going to actually drop in a nice dark wash into the recesses of the grille. These are actually supposed to be open in between those. I mean, it's a grille. It's not solid. It's supposed to have spaces in between so you can get some airflow to the radiator and then cool the engine. We don't have the luxury of opening these up, so we're just going to use some wash to give it the illusion of there being darkness behind it. We're going to do the same thing on the side panels as well for these vents. Again, drop a little bit of my black wash, nothing fancy. That should give it some nice extra detail. And then we just use a Q-tip here and we're just going to wipe off all the excess. And the nice thing is because these are recessed lines, we're just going to wipe the tops of the raised lines and we should be perfect. We might have to touch up here and there just a little bit, but I think overall it's going to be a pretty decent look. I did the same thing with the wheels. The hubcaps had a nice Chevy logo on it, and so I've dropped a little bit of black wash on those to make that pop a bit. We're just going to wipe down the edges, really to kind of clean up the chrome and also to leave the recessed lines here, that nice black. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but I wanted people to know what it is, and I wanted people to see the Chevrolet on the nose and on the hubcaps. And we are finished, everybody. Here she is, a 1941 Chevy Pickup by Revell. We're done. And I gotta tell you, this has been one heck of a ride, guys. The model is not 100% perfect. I know that. I've left off some things. I didn't get to detail the engine. There were certain issues that I had with the fit on the cab and the hood. But to be honest, I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I think it is a beautiful looking truck. The model itself could have been done a bit differently here and there. I'm pretty pleased. Underside is not really that detailed because no one's going to see it. But you know what? I'm happy with it. It's a beautiful little model. I love it. It's going to go prominently in my display case. Big shout out to Pappy over there at West Georgia Rod and Customs. This has been a really fun build. I have never built a truck before, and building this one, yeah, they're fun. I really have to say, this has been a very enjoyable build. So we're going to call this one done. We are finished with Chevy Truck Month. Yeah, a week late, but you know what? We did it. We came, we conquered. I'm happy with it. So I'm not sure where we're going to go from here, guys. I've got a couple more car kits that I did pick up, and we might want to go ahead and get those things rolling. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Go out, get yourself some bench time, pick up this 41 Chevy because it is really awesome. And we'll see you back here on the next episode of 4 Wheel Fridays.